Dream tabs on the screen like a broken machine. Creators grinding late nights online, turning what they know into digital shine. On webinars, running emails to send, automation tools you gotta defend. But there's a better way to run the show, one system where the whole thing flows. When the vision hits and the system's right, ideas turn business overnight. Teachers and coaches leading the way, turning their skills into power and pay. No more switching apps every minute a day, one place to run it your way. Creators building futures online, ideas turn systems with the right design. From the classroom to the worldwide stage, welcome to the creator age. Can I rock? Can I rock? Build it up high, turn your knowledge into enterprise. Can I rock? Let it all flow from your first idea to a global show. Webinars running AI by your side, build your whole business, watch your vision rise. Can I rock? Can I rock? From an idea in your mind, creators, educators. Let's go. Too many tools just to build one dream. Tabs on the screen like a broken machine. Creators grinding late nights online, turning what they know into digital shine. On webinars, running emails to send, automation tools you gotta defend. But there's a better way to run the show, one system where the whole thing flows. When the vision hits and the system's right, ideas turn business overnight. Can I rock? Build it up high, turn your knowledge into enterprise. Can I rock? Let it all flow from your first idea to a global show. Webinars running AI by your side, build your whole business, watch your vision rise. Can I rock? Can I rock? Teachers and coaches leading the way, turning their skills into power and pay. No more switching apps every minute a day, one place to run it your way. Creators building futures online, ideas turn systems with the right design. From the classroom to the worldwide stage, welcome to the creator age. Can I rock? Can I rock? Build it up high, turn your knowledge into enterprise. Can I rock? Let it all flow from your first idea to a global show. Webinars running AI by your side, build your whole business, watch your vision rise. Can I rock? Can I rock? From an idea in your mind, in your mind, to a business online. Run it up, run it on Canira.
Hello, and welcome everyone to tonight's build session. This is going to be exciting. This is Chante Earl, and you guys are at the right place at the right time. I've got some real good news to share with you tonight. And first of all, before I begin, we are at our weekly build session. And in this build session, I'm going to go through some very important pieces to creating content that will serve continuously. You see, our motto is to build once, serve continuously. And that is Canira. So before I start, I want to ask you a very serious question. Actually, I want to ask you two questions. The first question is this: what are you building? What are you building? Drop one word in the chat. Go ahead and drop one word in the chat. What are you building? And the reason I asked you what are you building is real simple. You're either a builder or you're a consumer. And if you are a builder, builders, we build and we don't necessarily have to take pause on why we're building. A lot of times we take the first step even though we don't see the whole staircase. Consumers, they're always waiting. They're always waiting on the next. So consumers, they continue to gather data, and that's fine. But eventually you got to stop going to workshops. Eventually you're going to have to stop buying all these courses. Eventually you're going to have to start building. And being a builder means that you're going to allow faith to exercise by the actions that you take. Is that okay? Because faith without works is dead. So everything is based on execution. So again, answer this question: what are you building? And drop one word in the chat. So tonight, by the way, we are live on multiple platforms. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. And we're also live in the Canira studio. So for those of you who are in the Canira studio, I can actually see your chats. On Facebook, you can chat, and other channels, go ahead and put it in the comment, and we'll try to answer those. But if you're in the studio is a little different. You get a little bit better treatment. All right. You get customized treatment inside the studio. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Chante Earl. I am the founder of Canira. And this venture started about 9 months ago. I can't believe how time flies. And during this season, I had a big idea. And the big idea is that I wanted to create a webinar platform. Now, understand something. I am not an engineer. I am not someone who has went to college for decades to obtain any type of degree. I am a young person who decided that technology was my thing. At the age of 11, I wrote my first line of code at the local library. And the reason I was there, because it was the only door that was open to me during the summer. And I was that kid that would turn the computers off and on and run around the library until one day I got caught and a guy asked me, would you like to learn how to write code? And I had no idea what he was talking about. All I knew is that when he showed me how to make a little stick figure walk across the screen, I was sprung. So that summer, I kept showing up, regardless of all the challenges that I had in my life. How many of you have to show up even though there's issues going on in your life? We all do. So that summer, that was me. Even though there were moments where I wanted to quit, I continued to show up, sometimes walking to the library. But that year, I wrote that first line of code and it sparked a fire in me that never went out. So I grew up to be that kid that had always had some type of technology with him. Yeah, I was that kid with the camera that would take camcorder shots. I was that kid where the grandma would tell you to stop taking pictures of me. I was the kid that individuals would call on to fix their computers and fix their audio equipment. I was that kid. And fast forward, when 2000 hit and the World Wide Web was introduced, I was that kid who was looking around, trying to figure out this thing called domain names. And trust me, there were a lot of people out there building websites and selling domain names, making a fortune. But at that point, I was a kid that was a little bit behind the boat. Yeah, it seemed like every time a new technology would arise, I would get in, but it seemed like I was always getting in late. Have you ever been in that position where you felt that you just came in just a little late, but you came in? You know what I mean? Well, that was me. And then 2007 hit and we had the Great Recession, and I was that kid again that was involved with computers, deciding that I wanted to start an online business because I heard all these gurus talking about how they can become rich online. So I dove into SEO, search engine optimization, helped businesses create webinar funnels. And I was that kid who made a little bit of money, but never made it big. Now, decades passed, and as you guys already know, we were blessed with this thing called artificial intelligence in 2023. And yes, I was that kid if I want to call myself a kid, I can, right? Is that okay? Let me just daydream a little bit right now. Let me just dream a little bit, okay? Yeah, I decided to drop everything and go head first into this thing called AI. So I began to learn artificial intelligence and begin to teach it, because I was always taught from my mentors is that if you ever want to learn something, teach it. So I started a company called Smart AI Workshop, where I would go into the schools, go into the universities, have workshops called AI Made Simple, and teach individuals how to operate and how to understand this thing called artificial intelligence. And as someone who has a passion for technology, it was right up my alley. So let me just give you a quick breakdown of what AI is if you don't know what it is. Well, AI learns from data. It's not magic. It appears to be magical at times, but it's not. But it learns from data. And it learns from a large amount of data, billions and trillions amount of data. And as it learns, well, it then begins to see patterns, and it predicts based on the patterns that it's been able to identify based on the data that it learns from. But every now and then it gets those patterns wrong. Some things are not right, and it does hallucinate. And what does that mean? That means that artificial intelligence, well, can get the wrong data because it was trained on what someone had thrown out on the internet. And trust me, we've got a lot of people in the world with a lot of different perspectives on life. And some of the data can be biased. Some of the data can be straight up hateful. Some of the data can be absolutely wrong. And therefore, it can give you a return that is wrong. Now, when that happens, it's up to us to correct the artificial intelligence by letting it know that you've made a mistake. That's not correct. This is the correct way of doing it, and this is what's right. And then it learns from that, and then it goes through the process all over again. That's how AI learns, from data, predicting patterns, being corrected, and then taking that loop until it's able to come up with the right answer. Now that we know this, there are really three things that it's extremely good at. And the first is text to text, which means it can predict the next word. Text to image. Text to image basically means that it's using tokens to create images. And text to video. Now, we all have seen these artificial intelligent videos out here, right? Yeah, we have. And guess what? It's starting to look like a whole bunch of noise. Am I lying? Aren't we seeing the same videos, the same images? And isn't this starting to look familiar? I mean, come on, y'all. Pretty soon, everything that we see online is going to be AI generated. And right now, guess what is the most important thing? You, your authentic self. So everybody in the chat right now, I want you to put down me. Go ahead and just type that in the chat, me, because you are the most important piece of this puzzle because of your voice, because of your fingerprint, and because of your story. AI will never be able to replicate that, reproduce it. Now it's good. Now it's clones. There's some things out there that make you think that, man, it's on point, but it's not you. So don't get it twisted, AI. We still are running this show. So let's look at the chat. I see you out there, Amira. I see you out there, Nicole. I see you out there. And guess what? It is all about you. And one thing I've discovered over the decade by teaching artificial intelligence to many folks over the last 3 years is that there's 3 AI archetypes. And these archetypes consist of individuals who have different missions when it comes to using this thing called artificial intelligence. Now, let me break it down for you just real quick. And then I'm going to start building something that I used AI to create. Now, what these archetypes are is this. We have one called the fortress builder. Now, the fortress builder, ladies and gentlemen, are business owners, could be you, who already have an established company, who already has systems, who understands that, hey, I know how to make money. I've been successful, and I just don't want to be left out of this AI adoption. And I know I need to do something, but I don't have time to stop everything that I'm doing to learn it. Is that you? Because if it is, you're a fortress builder. And I want to go ahead and congratulate you because you are the type of business owner who has taken on this venture to own a company and to hire employees and to get out there and change the world. You are a builder. So, fortress builders, this is your solution. You need to have someone on your team, on your mastermind team, that understands this thing called artificial intelligence. If you ever seen Star Wars, do you remember that there was something called a Jedi Council? Well, that is what you would need in your life. Someone who has the skill set where you can just pick up the phone or give them the order and they can go in and use that artificial intelligence to solve the big problem that you're dealing with. And then over time, learn it too, because it's not going to go away. And then the other archetype, ladies and gentlemen, is what I like to call the gold panner. Now, gold panners are individual professionals who have started careers, who are experts in what it is that they do. But the challenge is they're not technical. So because they're not technical, they know that AI could solve a specific problem. It's just that they don't have the technical skills to solve it, but they're willing to learn. So individuals like that, it could be you, I have a solution for. Yes, what you need is to have someone on your team that can teach you, and while you learn, both of you can earn until you learn enough to where that other individuals that's been teaching you can go off on their merry way and you can continue solving those big problems. But you have to be willing to bring the problem and let that individual teach you by you looking over his shoulder and seeing how he's solving that problem using artificial intelligence. Now, the third is the Phoenix. Now, we all know Phoenix is something that changes. It's a rising thing where they have to begin again. Well, guess what? Many of you are out there who are beginning again. Maybe you've got that pink slip at work, or maybe you've climbed the corporate ladder and looked back and realized, damn, I was standing on the wrong ladder, leaning against the wrong roof, and I got to do something different. Well, if that's you, well, you know that artificial intelligence is here. You realize that all businesses will have to eventually conform and use this technology. And you're like, hey, this is my shot. I don't want to be in the wish I had a club any longer. I don't want to be, I wish I had gotten Bitcoin when it was cheap. I wish I had got involved with that technology when it was early. And now you are early. So now you're like, I'm ready, and I'm ready to go all in on AI. And if that's you, guess what? You're at the right place at the right time, but I want to stop you in your tracks. You have to do this. And this is something that I wish I would have learned in the beginning. You need to stick to one tool. You need to identify one AI tool and master it. If it's ChatGPT, if it's Claude, if it's Grok, if it's Gemini, because trust me when I tell you this, and I'm sure you'll agree that every other day or every other week, there is a new shiny object introducing its head and moving and saying why you should use it. And now you are drifting. You're someone who's out there jumping from tool to tool, never mastering any. So go ahead and commit the next 3 to 6 months in mastering that one. And then I promise you this, once you've earned the right to switch, you'll be positioned to earn like you've learned. So that's the archetype that I've discovered. Now, folks, let me see who's on board right now. I know you're listening. I know you're with me, but I want to tell you something. I don't want you to think that you are late, because there is what's called a technological adoption curve. And we're all on this curve. And I want to share with you what that curve looks like. If I was to go to my whiteboard, I could put it up, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to explain it to you. And on that technological adoption curve, this is the era in time where individuals have to be positioned in certain areas. For example, the first phase on that curve is the innovators. Now, innovators are someone who basically they've innovated and they brought on a new technology, and now they have money, they have funding, they have time, they can afford to fail. But once they get that tech to a certain point, they are now able to release it to the world. So innovators are always the beginners. They're the ones that start. And when I explain all five, I want you to put inside the chat, which one do you see yourself as? So the innovators and then the early adopters come next. Now, early adopters, ladies and gentlemen, are those individuals who jump in first. They're like the beta testers. They're the ones that say, hey, I don't want to be left out the boat. I don't want to be the one missing out again. So they're willing to test out the software, the business, until they are successful. Now, usually the early adopters usually take full advantage of the growth of the company or the technology. Now, again, they are beta testers, so they're going to be the ones finding all the bugs as well. And after that, then it's called the early majority. Now, they're the ones that say, hey, you've already tested it. You've proven it works. Now I want in. So they jump in and they use it, and now everyone is using it. But then there's the late majority who was like fighting it and like, I want to get in, but I'm a little late, but I'm going to do it anyway. And they jump in. And then there's the laggards. They're the ones that refuse to change because they're used to doing things the way they've always been doing it. And they refuse to change. Which one are you? Go ahead and put inside the chat. Are you an innovator, early majority, late majority, a laggard, or early adopter? I think that's all of them. I'm sure it is. I don't know. Wherever you are, write it inside the chat, okay? Now, that was a quick lesson. And before I go any further, before we get into the build, I want to ask you this. What are you building? I'm going to go back to that because it's so important that we answer that question. And once you answer that question, then and only then can we begin to build. Because clarity is the first step. If you're not clear on what it is you want, then how do you know when you get it that it's what it is you said you wanted? Now, as a business owner, we have to always answer this question before we build the foundation to anything that we are venturing into. And who are you helping? And what type of transformation are you offering that particular client or potential client? Who are you helping? I help who? Go from to. Because you have to answer that. I want you to finish that sentence. Because once you know what it is you are offering and who is it that you're helping and the transformation that you are going to give them, only then can we build upon it. Nothing happens without that question being answered. Okay, so I want you to look at that, answer that, because it's important. All right, it's very important. You need to know who are you helping, because the fact of the matter is confused businesses create confused buyers. So if you're confused going into it, well, guess what? The type of buyers you're going to attract are going to be confused. They're not going to want to do business with you because they're not going to understand what it is that you are actually selling. And how can someone buy when they're confused? They would rather say no and turn and walk away. So once you know what it is you want, then only then can we build on top of that. Now, 8 months ago, ladies and gentlemen, I was in the process of building a webinar platform. That was my mission. I gave myself a challenge. I said, let me see what AI can really do. So I said, let me get back into this thing called coding. So I researched vibe coding. I took a class and I've never been the same. I started off using different types of softwares that would allow me to vibe code. I realized a lot of them was only producing MVPs, most viable products. In other words, there was nothing really in them. I didn't realize that until after the fact and many months and thousands of lines of code later. But the thing that really resonates with me is what was being built during the season that I was creating this thing called Canira. And as a matter of fact, I had no idea that it was even going to be Canira. Because at 1 a.m. in the morning, while everyone in the house was asleep, I was sitting at my desk vibe coding. And during that time, I was using a higher tier AI model. And these things take tokens, ladies and gentlemen. And when they run out, they drop you down to a lesser model. It's like having platinum status and then being dropped down to bronze. You lose all the real value of the particular plan. Well, that's what happened to me. And when I was reduced to a lesser model, that model wiped out a week of my progress. And I was devastated. All I could do was sit and stare at the screen and wonder to myself and say to myself, is this really for me? Have I bitten off more than I can chew? Maybe I should just stick with text to text and text the image and the things that I know. And it wasn't the week of work that was the most devastating part. I could always rebuild and code that. But it was my confidence of me not believing in myself that maybe I just can't do this particular task. And I started doubting if I was the man for the job. And I quit. That night, I quit for 3 months. But over those 3 months, I kept thinking about that one file that was sitting on my desktop. And I knew that that file was a remembrance of some unfinished business. Have you ever done something and stopped and looked at it and it reminded you of your failures? Well, this is what was going through my mind. I knew that it was something that I wanted, but I didn't finish. Have you ever been there? Because that was me, that 3 months. But I kept learning, I kept researching, and January 1st, I decided that I was going to get back into it and finish what I had started. So I jumped back in and I started vibe coding once again, and 700,000 lines of code later, Canira was created. And Canira, ladies and gentlemen, is not a webinar platform. It's a media infrastructure that I had no idea that was being built. It's an operating system for creators to use to sell. And let me tell you, folks, this thing became something that I had no idea that I was capable of creating. So the reason I'm sharing that with you is because before I show you what Canira really is, you need to know the backstory of it. Now, before I go there, I want to open up another screen and I want to ask you this. Which stage are you in? No, that's not what I want to ask. I want to ask you this. Before you build a business, you have to build the builder. And I was being built during that time. Do you recall a time in your life where you felt that you were being built? And only after the duration of the pain of change, you came out of it like a butterfly and you realized that you had to go through that to be able to be the person that you are today? Well, congratulations. That just tells you that you're on the right track. Don't quit. You're right where you should be at the right time, at the right place. Do not quit. Most people quit right before they get to the finish line, and that is not going to be you. So, believe me this, progress beats perfection. So don't try to be perfect. It's not perfection that you're after. It's progress. So as you go into whatever it is that you're building, know that the progress is really what you want. And it's not about being perfect. It's all about progression. So let me go ahead and let's get into the build session so I can share with you what we've created over the last 8 months. I'm going to go ahead and open up a screen. And as I open up this screen, you're going to be able to see Canira as we build our first funnel. And I'm going to go in and I am going to share this screen here. There we go. Now we are inside of Canira and I'm moving myself to the top. Now, the first thing I want you to notice is that we have options of the color. I can go to light mode. I can go to dark mode. Not only that, all of your content that you build is on the first screen. You'll be able to see all of your webinars right here in one area. And the beauty of Canira, we have what's called a methodology called the 4A method. Now, the 4A method is a very powerful method that was discovered during that 8-month build. The first phase of the 4A method is anchor. Anchor is where everything begins. It's your foundation. It's the reason why I asked that first question. What is it that you're building? Because that is going to be the foundation that we build everything from. Your registration page, your landing page, your offer, everything is going to be built from that. And one question that kept coming up over those 8 months, and one scripture that continued to remind me, is count the cost before you build. Count the cost before you build. So yes, anchor is going to feel like work because that's where the cost starts, because that's where you're going to lay the foundation for everything else. But after you've anchored, you're going to air. That's when you go live and you record your voice, your unique story, your unique offer, your unique teaching, the thing that separates you from artificial intelligence, you. That's where you air for 1 hour. Then I'm going to show you how to take that and amplify it. And that's where we turn it into clips, podcast, social post, images, quote, graphics, and more. And then we show you how to automate that same video to where it can serve continuously at 2 a.m. in the morning or 7 p.m. in the evening, all on autopilot. And that is the 4A method. Anchor, air, amplify, and automate. The anchor of the air is the build once. The amplify and automate is the serve continuously. Now that you've seen the 4A method, let me show you it in action. Canira has a sidebar. And in the sidebar, it's the home, it's your contacts, it's your media library. You have your clips, your podcast, your university, Canira University for training, your marketing, your calendar, and oh yes, TV channel. Because Canira not only can you build once, but you could serve on every screen from your Canira mobile app on Android and iOS, or your desktop, or your Roku app on Canira TV. Yes, Canira is built once, serve continuously on all screens. So if you are just getting into Canira and you want to just go live, you can just say, let me just go live. I don't want to build and have continuous broadcasting going and amplify. I just want to get straight into the studio. Well, you can click on studio and studio will open. And now you can join the studio and you can now navigate throughout the studio. And once you've done that, you can now take that 1 hour and amplify it. And in order to do that, you will go into the marketing area. And in the marketing, we have what's called the promo hub. The promo hub is where you take that 1 hour and it turns it into video clips, quote graphics, social posts, email sequences, as well as a blog post, all from 1 hour of content. Now, the beauty of this is that you don't have to leave Canira in order to share this particular content, because your social media apps are all connected to the Canira platform and all can be shared in this one area. For example, I can click on Create Clip. Canira will then go into the clips and it will then produce a clip for me. Or I can do AI suggestion, and from that, I can locate a clip and I can go in and I can now say how many clips I would like to generate, 5, and I can actually put it into a square or vertical or portrait, and then I can click generate, and now Canira is going to clip forever. And these clips will now be able to be shared and edited right in one location. But not only is this the way to amplify your message, Canira will give you a rating to show what level of potential virality based on that particular clip and video. I can click create clip, and now Canira is going to now create a clip that can be shared. You see, this is amplified, folks. And to amplify means that you want to be able to do something once and allow it to serve continuously. That's why it's all about build once, serve continuously. So now the clip is being generated. Now, the beauty of that is this. How many times would you want your content to be shared? How many? Once? 10 times? 15 times? You tell me. How many times? So now I can go in and view the clip, and the clip is actually being cooked as we speak. Now it's creating captions and many other options on this particular video. How many times would you want your content to be shared and watched? Go ahead and put that in the chat. And I'm pretty sure your answer is probably going to be a lot, because that's what your answer should be. Because at the end of the day, we want our stuff to be seen as much as possible. So here is several different clips that have been created in this Canira account. And all of these clips have been shared on social media. And they all have come from 1 or 2 or 3 different build sessions that I have done, or podcasts that I have recorded. Yes. Pretty nice, right? So now that that's being worked on, I want to ask you a question. What is it that you have on your computer that has not been seen, but you know that is good content, but it is never going to see the light of day again? How many events have you recorded and you've spent months preparing for, but only to take that recording and it's sitting on your desktop or in a zip drive that will never see the light of day again? How many Zoom webinars have you recorded that have downloaded on your desktop folder or your document folder and has never seen the light of day again? You see, ladies and gentlemen, the content game is broken. And the reality of it is we have content that is never being repurposed because it takes more time to repurpose our content than it did to originally create it. Yeah, typically most people will go out, shoot a video for an hour. Once that video has been shot, they will then come back and edit the video, create thumbnails for the video, then post the video, and that could be 5-10 hours that you have to invest in order to get that done. Or you can outsource it, and then you have to go back and forth with your editor to make sure it's right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to do that inside Canira. This is your media infrastructure that will allow you to edit your videos as well as clip your videos, strip your audio from the video, turn it into podcasts so that it can then go out and serve continuously. Yeah, this is Canira. This is why I'm excited about it. So, for example, let's watch this video. This video here is playing. Now, I can share the clip, click share clip, and I can click on Reels, Instagram feed, YouTube Shorts, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Then I can also choose which Facebook page I want to post to, which Instagram account I want to use. And not only that, I can take the captions of the actual words and AI will amplify and create captions based on the words that was spoken in the clip. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a no-brainer. Then I can press preview post. And then I can share to the platform. And now it's going to be shared to all of those platforms at once. You see, this is what I'm talking about when I say amplify. Anchor, air, amplify, and automate. And amplify is one of the most powerful pieces to the 4A method. Because amplify is the build, is actually the serve continuously, and that's where AI shines. AI is not going anywhere, folks. But you have to have a reason to use it. And if you don't know your why before you use AI, then you are just drifting. So that's why it's very important to know what it is you want before you use it. So while that's working, I want to answer any questions that I may see inside the chat. So let me go to my chat and let me see if there's any questions that might come up. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. I'm going to go to my Facebook chat while that's actually being cooked. And once that's done, it's going to notify me that each of those videos have been saved. I'm going to look at my actual phone just to see what the status is on my live. It's still live on Facebook. I see that you're still watching, folks. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm going to also look and see if there's any chats, any questions. Okay, there is some chats there. All right, let's take a look. All right, I see you, Taki. Thank you for joining me. Let me see if there's any other individuals who may have some questions or they are interested in seeing more features within the Canira platform. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Amplified at its finest. Yeah, it's working. It takes a little bit of time, but let me tell you, folks, this is saving me so much more time than it took. Okay, so as you can see, all of the posts that I've just actually amplified has came back as successful. So first off, if I wanted to check my Instagram reel, I can click on the reel and I can see my post right here on IG. There it is there. Absolutely powerful. Then if I want to go in and see if the post made it to my Instagram feed, I can click on that. It said it made it, and I trust it because it's tend to be accurate. And now there it is in my feed. That is correct. If I want to check to see if it's on my YouTube Shorts, there I am on YouTube. And also, if I want to see if I'm on Facebook, I can click on my Facebook, and yep, there it is on Facebook as well. There's the post. Not only that, and LinkedIn. Let's see if it's on LinkedIn. And ladies and gentlemen, Canira has just amplified one clip, and now it is being shared and serving continuously. Do you guys want that? Do you guys want to have access to this? How much time would this save you? And how much time do you think something like this would save you? Because right now you have content that's not being distributed. You have content that's sitting. You've got content that will never see the light of day. But now, based on Canira, you can now share continuously. And the video that I clipped, here it is here. There it is. And I can just back it up if I want to. So let me share this clip as well. And let me go back because I'm gonna go back to compose. But this is gonna be a little different, okay? I'm gonna share it to Instagram, Instagram feed. I'm not gonna share it to the feed. I'm actually gonna share it to Facebook, also LinkedIn. But this is gonna be a little different because I'm not gonna share it right this second. I'm gonna schedule it. So let me show you, not only can Canira share instantly, but you can also schedule it to share at a later time. And the beauty of that is this. Watch this. So now I'm going to preview the post. There it is. Okay. And then I'm going to schedule. Boom. I opened up the schedule and now I'm going to choose the time to post. So this here is actually going to post at 7 o'clock on the nose. So in the next 10 minutes, we're going to post this on all of those channels right here. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to post at 7 o'clock tonight. And then I'm going to schedule it. Bow. Now schedule. Boom. So schedule's complete. And when it's finished, it's going to post. Fun. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is Canira Clips. Canira Clips is built right in. Not only do you have clips, you have a complete media library. So all of your clips and all of your content can now be inside your library. You also have contacts, a CRM that can be exported. Your CRM can be literally exported, and now you can keep track of all of your clients. Along with that, you can also create a podcast. Now, I don't think you're going to be ready for this one, folks. This right here is truly one of my favorite features inside Canira and the build session is because how about taking 1 hour and then stripping the audio and then allowing that to actually be shared on all of the necessary distribution channels, such as Spotify, Apple, Facebook. But not only that, people can listen to your podcast right here inside of Canira. And not only can they listen to your podcast, you have the ability to take one of your podcasts and turn it into a audio graph. Watch this. Clip this video. So, ladies and gentlemen, watch what happens. Let me go in and let me re-render. Let's go ahead and find a start time. Boom. Boom. And now I'm going to create an audio graph. So now I'm taking the audio that was stripped from a video and now I'm turning it back into a video. So now I'm going to share an audio with the cover of the podcast on social media as well, to where it can be able to serve continuously. Take a look at that. It's ready. And then I can just do the same thing. I can download it or I can share it. I can share it on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Same concept. And not only that, I can just press preview and share. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a serve continuously machine. And I told you when we first started this actual build session how to turn one live into weeks of content. I just showed you how I'm turning one live session into weeks of content, because now AI is able to amplify us and to be able to create content on the fly through the infrastructure that is built inside of Canira. Let me explain to you what an infrastructure is, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody questions roads. We just know that the lights turn green and red at the proper time. Nobody questions electricity. We know that our electric grid works because we can turn it on and off our lights. Nobody questions how things happen behind the scene. Well, here inside Canira, it has an infrastructure to where it's all talking to itself. So you don't have to worry about how your posts are going to be out there and shared. Once you've set up your piece, it's going to do the work for you. Yes, folks, this is content on steroids. Yes, it is. So now that's shared, I can click on my reel. And yeah, folks, this is exactly what I promised you. This is the Canira playbook. All right. If you want a copy of that, go register at canira.io/workshop. Now, you've been with me for quite some time this evening. I don't want to keep you, but I wanted to at least give you what I promised. I showed you how to turn one live into weeks of content. Every week, we're going to be doing new build sessions, and everything is built in